lot of companies are frustrated with their websites. It looks old, it's out of date, and it's not getting customers. Sage Tree gets it. Since 2005, Sage Tree has been helping companies with websites that look great, work great, and get leads. So stop being frustrated by your website and get one that you're going to be proud to share. Contact Sage Tree today to get a website that makes the phone ring. Getting started is real easy. Call 866-728-9100. That's 866-728-9100. Get your website today and stop being frustrated. All right. Well, we were hoping Dane White was going to call in. He won the mayor of Escondido. So he's not called in yet, and we've been trying to check him out. But in the meantime, what's going on? I'm bouncing it off you, girl.
He's on the line.
Oh, that you're saved.
Saved by the Dane.
Saved by Mr. White. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. How are you? Sorry about that.
Oh, no, that's okay. We were just thinking, okay, we got a tap dance for 15 minutes. Let's see what we're going to do. But no. Hey, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Hard-fought battle?
Oh, my gosh, the hardest battle of my life. We started 15 months ago, and I basically didn't work for a year. I took 2 jobs that basically kept our finances afloat to do this full time. And, yeah, it was a lot more than I anticipated, but obviously it was worth it.
Yeah, and not only that, now you're going to really come back at them, make you go through all that work. I'll make this worthwhile. Trust me. The people that didn't vote for me, I'm only kidding.
No, it's funny. People keep saying, well, now the real work starts. And it's like, yeah, but at least I get a paycheck for this work.
Yeah.
I paid for the last year.
And I think your hours are not going to be quite as long, and you're not going to have to walk as far.
Yeah, exactly.
So for folks that maybe don't live in the Escondido area, why don't you kind of give us a little synopsis of your last year?
Yeah. How in depth do you want me to go? Because there was a lot that happened.
Well, why don't you do the highlights? Because is he on for more than one segment, or is he on for one, two? Two. Okay, so you got 2 segments. One of them could be just kind of the highlights of your journey, and then the next one, you can tell us what you're going to do to Escondido as you move forward.
Yeah. So we started in September of last year was when we made the announcement. And I started by calling everybody in the city who I thought might run, who kind of would have been next in line. And nobody was interested, and it was kind of worrying me because somebody had to challenge Paul. So I announced, and in the first week raised $10,000. So we thought, man, this is a good sign.
Yeah.
Shortly after I announced, though, I had a group of individuals, a donor, a council member, and then the former mayor actually called me into a meeting and said, you're going to step aside because the former mayor is going to run again. And, I only had one question. What are you going to do different now that you didn't do 4 years ago that cost you your seat? And he said, absolutely nothing. I'm going to do nothing different. And I said, I don't accept that. It's not going to work.
Wow.
In a city that's moved, another 6 points to the Democrats, we need somebody new. And so I kept going, and then eventually got the Republican Party endorsement. And then after that, another Republican filed papers and actually got their name on the ballot, which was stressful for about 3 weeks. And then she kindly bowed out at the last second on the last day. So, that was interesting. And it wasn't until that point where people were really willing to get involved and help us out financially. And over that year, we were able to raise about $115,000 and do everything we needed to do.
You did it with $115,000?
I did, yes.
Well,
Wow.
You're almost out there with that truck driver that did it for what? $275.
Yeah, no, that guy's got me beat. That guy definitely has me beat. But
wouldn't
didn't
you
he
love
like a box of donuts?
Yeah, wouldn't you love to know what his campaign people were all doing? Man, I got to hire these guys. Hell, the salaries were more than that.
What's fascinating is, so I had, and my campaign manager, Ryan Gardner, I believe he's 23 or 24. He came to me when he was 17 for my first run for school board and asked if he could run my campaign, and we won. And then we won again in 2020. And I had people tell me, I don't know who Ryan is, and historically we donate, $5,000-$10,000, and we're not going to until you hire somebody else. And I had to say no because A, I couldn't afford somebody else, and B, I don't think people quite realized to what extent Ryan and I went to make this thing happen. I mean, it was night and day for a year.
Wow. Did you share that story with him?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because, I mean, that's...
Oh, yeah.
But, when you think, the teenagers are gone and we've lost them completely, you'll get a couple diamond in the roughs like Ryan. That's amazing. That's a great story.
No, what's incredible is, so he ran my race. He flipped control of our elementary school board here in Escondido. He won the 2 seats on my high school board, both with over 70%, and then he flipped the Palomar College board, all single-handedly.
So, did you did he go to school for? Is there a school for this?
No.
He's a bright young man. He went to one of the UCs, I believe, studied political science, worked in the state Senate. So he's been doing this for quite some time.
Quite some time.
24.
He's 17 years old.
6 years.
Yeah, he's an old pro now. He's taking Sundays off and going golfing.
Got a son who's 24. He better step it up.
I wasn't going to bring that up, not in the least. So you used to have a business, or do you still have it? And if somebody keeping it running for you?
Yeah, so here's what happened. About that time, September, when we announced, I was in the middle of acquiring another hardwood flooring company, one that's been established in the county for about 30 years. And when December rolled around, it was becoming increasingly clear that there were some inconsistencies in the business I just wasn't comfortable with. And at the same time, it was like, okay, the amount of time it's going to take to run for mayor, I could tell you just couldn't try and start a business and run for mayor. And so I chose to run for mayor. And so at that time, I kind of put my business aside. And like I said, I took on 2 flooring jobs over the last year to keep us afloat. But after December, I really didn't work a whole lot.
Wow. So you went back to putting floors in? Wow.
Yeah. Actually, that's where I just was. I started my dad's floor about 3 months ago and then had to stop.
Oh, but you know what? That's what's going to keep you grounded. As long as you keep thinking like that, you're going to do just fine. So I know you're excited about getting to work. When do you start?
December 14th, which is kind of cool. I have my last school board meeting on the 13th, and at the end of the meeting, I'll officially resign, and then the next day I'll get sworn in.
Wow.
There you go.
It's pretty exciting. I mean, I'm sure you're kind of still trying to, kind of get it all in your head.
I am, but at the same time, I have met so many good people over the last year that I feel like my support system is all there. And then, my father-in-law has been on the city council here for, I want to say 12 years. And so I've got a good mentor. I have a good relationship with the other council members. So things are already going in the right direction.
Well, that's excellent. So what I'm going to do is we're going to make you hang on until the next segment, and then we can talk about some of the goals and aspirations for Escondido. I see in my notes that you're a longtime San Diego County gun owners, a member and a volunteer. So maybe we can chat a little about that and get your feeling on Second Amendment and what it's going to take to, keep. You know what I heard the other day? Let me ask you a trivia question. Usually we'll say this. Do you know how old the founding fathers were when they wrote the Bill of Rights?
I heard weren't they some in their 20s?
Yes. Mm-hmm. I heard that the other day. I could not believe it. 18, 19, 20. I can't name who was what, but where. But when you stop and think about that and you read that, I bet Ryan probably could have been in that group.
Yeah, no kidding.
Right.
Definitely not me.
Yeah, well, me either. Yeah, you're kidding. Maybe Action Jackson, but we'll talk about that later. Is there a more effective tool that empowers a 100-pound woman to defend against a 200-pound attacker? That's why it's so important for women to learn how to defend themselves with the most effective self-defense tool ever invented. For women, led by women, the Not Me program is designed to help with training, purchasing a gun, and getting a concealed carry permit. And guess what? It's totally free. To sign up, go to notmesd.org. The program is also available in Orange County and the Inland Empire. Get help today, notmesd.org. All right, we got Dane White back again. He just won the mayorship of Escondido. He's also heavily involved with the San Diego County gun owners, so sounds to me like you're pretty happy with the Second Amendment and would like to leave it exactly the way it is.
Very much so. Very much so.
Yeah.
It actually it's played an important role in my life since I can even remember, because my grandparents lived here in Escondido when I was 3-4 years old, and I remember being in my grandpa's backyard with pop cans and a 22, very young age, and my grandpa instilling in me the rules of gun safety, and to the point where I've just always been comfortable with firearms, and it's always played a big role in my life.
Totally. Okay, so you're in there, you're the mayor. What's the first thing you'd like to try to accomplish?
So first order of business is actually going to be to appoint somebody to the vacant seat. But after that, the very first conversation that needs to start is what are we going to do about homelessness?
Yeah.
And I've been pleasantly surprised. I've had mayors and other council members from other cities reach out to me on several occasions saying they're excited that there are more Republicans to work with in a regional way, and even got an email today saying, all the mayors need to meet together and come up with a framework of what we want to do collectively to make this happen, so we don't waste the next 2 or 4 years that we have control of things like Sandag and even like the North County mayors alone all need to be on the same page to tackle this. But for Escondido, specifically what we're going to do is create an ordinance that says you cannot camp or sleep on the sidewalks. Unfortunately, legally, in order to do that, you have to provide beds for the individuals on the streets. So we're going to build emergency, temporary bridge shelters, get folks into the shelters connected with services, and long-term into permanent supportive housing.
Right. See, this is what, and I'm not saying it's the left or the right, but everybody can do their own homework. But we can't complain about it. We got to do something about it. And this problem has been around for as long as I can remember. And it all started, I think it was back in the Reagan years, when he closed down all the psychiatric hospitals and just dumped these people out on the street. What were you thinking?
It's a mess for sure. And it seems like we dump more and more and more resources into it for the problem only to get worse later on. And here specifically in Escondido, I don't think we've had any sort of homeless ordinance passed in at least 8 years.
Wow.
And the problem just continually gets worse. And the thing is, I personally don't want to build shelters, but at the same time, I've got dozens and dozens of business owners upset because homeless people are defecating on their walls, sleeping in front of their doors, and disrupting businesses. And we've got to get back to allowing people to have property rights and supporting small businesses. And as long as we allow these people to sleep on the streets like that, it's just not going to work.
No. And there's got, like you said, there's got to be a process. And we were talking, who were we talking to? Oh, we were talking to Rhonda about homelessness as our guest in the first hour. And you've got to be able to take them off the street, and you've got to help them fix their problem. You've got to give them an avenue. And if they take it, then they take it. They're off the streets. You don't have to worry about it. You can get them back to a job. There's enough businesses out there looking for entry-level people. And then the ones that are just sick, and I guess that's just the easiest way to, then you have to hospitalize them and until you can get them fixed. So I think the job can be done. It's just everybody's going to have to do it and quit doing the same thing over and over and over again, which is just dump money into the problem.
Yeah, no doubt. And, I joke, but it is true. The gentleman before me didn't do anything. So doing something is better than nothing.
Right.
And then I'll add this. I used to be homeless, and I slept behind the 7-Eleven, one of the 7-Elevens here in Escondido. I'm also a product of a local 6-month outpatient rehabilitation program. And you hear people constantly all the time saying, they don't want help. And I push back against that and say at the time I would have told you I don't want help. But help was given to me when I didn't want it, and it worked. And I'm not saying it's going to work for everybody, and I'm not saying everybody has the same experience as I had, but we've got to do something.
Yeah, you got to at least give the person an opportunity, to say yes or no. And then you have to help them understand that no is not the answer, because you really don't want to stay this way. But, if you were unfortunately homeless, I'm sure you know people out there that would just as soon stay out there.
Exactly.
And they still,
And, you know,
they still need help.
Looking at it long term too, you got to put yourself in their shoes sometimes and think, okay, if this person's on the street because they're addicted to drugs, simply removing the drugs from their life doesn't change the position they're in, right? And that to get into permanent housing takes a lot of time, a lot of work, a lot of effort. And I know it sucks. Sometimes we want to be angry at what's going on around us, but we've all got to contribute and do our part and support these people if they do want help.
Yeah. And then we have to, I'm sorry, go ahead. I was going to say, then you have to put a serious lockdown on drugs and dealing. And if you get caught, you're not going to get your hands slapped and get out the next day. You are going to go to jail for a real, real long time with no bail.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's one of the things that the state has control of, and that's where a lot of people tend to throw up their hands and say, "Well, there's nothing we can do."
Well, Escondido would look like a really good state. So let's just carve Escondido out. We've got orchards, we got oranges, we got avocados, we got plenty of food. We don't need the rest of the
Wild Animal Park.
And we don't need any. Hey, we got Cruising Grand. That's way more
exactly.
important. I'm joking, but you almost kind of feel that way, don't you?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Then I won't let anybody else in either.
Yeah. Well, right now, nobody wants to come in, let me tell you. I just wish I had stock in U-Haul for the ones that are coming in. I don't know if you've seen that. It's like $1,500, $1,600 to come to California. And it's only, oh, no, I take that back. It's $350 to come to California and $1,600 to get out of California.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you've been living here your whole life. So, I mean, especially Escondido. People don't realize the history and the story of Escondido. And I always tell people you need to look it up. It's the most fascinating story and one of the fastest growing cities really in North County.
Yeah. A lot of people don't realize, they mined a significant amount of gold and silver out of Escondido. There's all the wineries. There's Native American history. I mean, it's rich.
Totally. You're absolutely right. But it was so funny because I literally drive from Alpine to Escondido to get my hair cut. And didn't you guys just get your first theater off of Grand a few years back? I mean, you never even had a big theater in your movie house, those things.
No, we've had a movie theater. That one is cool though because it's a theater, it's a church, it's a coffee house.
Oh, okay.
What they did was quote unquote restore the old theater, but they pretty much tore it all down and rebuilt it.
Yeah, started all over again. But well, we're pretty excited for you. I'm sure we'll stay in touch with you. You'll come to Gun Prom on occasion, and you got to.
Oh heck yeah!
Yeah, go ahead.
So, Dane, we have the San Diego County Gunner Christmas party coming up on December 19th. Will the public at large be able to meet and see you there?
I think so. I know I have it on my calendar.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure I'll be there.
Where's Ryan?
Ooh, yeah, bring Ryan.
Where's Ryan?
We want to meet him.
Yeah, where's Ryan when you need him? I bet he'll have you out. He'll take care of it for us. We don't need to talk to you.
Ryan stays out of the scenes for the most part.
Oh, I had that feeling. But, hey, he's learned his place, and he sounds like he's doing extremely well at it. So, yeah, it looks like
exactly.
It looks like you're going to stay in politics a while, and looks like he's going to stay on your coattails.
Yeah, or leading, one way or the other.
Yeah,
him and my wife were really the ones that ran this whole campaign.
Just tell me where to go.
Just a dummy that was willing to stand in front of the people.
Yeah, exactly. Just tell me where to go. I'm there, not even to be concerned. So, for folks again who don't live in Escondido, what's a gun atmosphere in Escondido?
Escondido has. We're the fourth largest city in the county, but we have that very small town vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And I think most people tend to stick to themselves. But here's what I'll say about the Second Amendment in Escondido. 2 years ago when I ran for re-election on the school board, we sent out text messages to a bunch of people in the city with multiple messages. But on several occasions, people responded and said, he's on the list of endorsed candidates for the San Diego County gun owners, so I already voted for him. More so than any other organization. It was dozens. So there's a pretty strong presence of the club here, and I think overall the city tends to be at least neutral.
Mm-hmm. Which is hard to do nowadays.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, when you come right down to it. But, and the thing I like about, or I'm hoping what is going to come out of you, is the concentration on Escondido. Not really worry too much about the other cities as much as getting Escondido in the direction that your whole group wants to be in the positive side.
Exactly. That's the goal.
Yeah, that's the goal. Because I would, if I was ever in your place, I would want my city to be a model city. It's kind of like, DeSantis in Florida. There's not a state out there that wouldn't like to be like DeSantis and see what he's doing. And, and that can go down to the small levels like a city like Escondido. And I'm sure that would be a great goal.
After living here my entire life, being fifth generation,
wow.
My only focus is on Escondido at the moment and doing what I can to make it a better city than when I got here.
Right. So how long is your term? This one?
4 years.
Probably goes bad. It'll go by like a nanosecond.
Well, I can't believe I ran for school board 6 years ago. It's kind of crazy.
See, it's what happens when you get old. No, I'm only kidding.
Yeah.
What was the vote spread on your winning there?
I have, I think, 51.6%.
Wow.
I mean, it wasn't much. When the results came out that night, I was down 31 votes.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, so you're mayor. Now you don't need to worry about campaigning. But if people want to stay on track of what Escondido is doing, we'll just go to the Escondido website.
So you can go to www.danemwhite.com, as in DaneMichaelWhite.com. I'm going to keep that website going. You can follow me on Facebook if you want information on the city specifically, Escondido.org. And if any of the listeners are ever in Escondido and want to get to know me or the city, just contact me, and I'm happy to be a part of that.
All right. So you got to do me a favor and get a hold of Steve Waldron. And tell him to bring some cars to KUSI to promote Cruising Grand next season, because I've been yelling at him, and he hasn't come down yet.
We'll take care of it.
You're the man. All right, buddy. Thank you very much. Have a great holiday season. Say goodbye, Action.
Goodbye.
Thanks for watching this clip from Gun Owners Radio. You can watch us live every Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m. California time, right here on our YouTube channel, or if you're in the San Diego area, you can listen to us on 1170 a.m. We're also available on your favorite podcast platform for free. Don't forget to like and subscribe so that you can help restore and protect the Second Amendment, not just in California, but across the country.